Hey guys, it's Casey. I know you're used to a cute little stinger at the beginning of an episode, but this time we just wanted to take a minute to talk because I don't know if you're aware, but about a week and a half ago, JK Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books, got on Twitter and said some really unfortunate things about trans people. There's been a lot of talk about her being a TERF for a while now, but this was kind of the most explicit iteration of that we've seen. And so we just want to take a second to let our listeners know that we support 100% the trans community. We don't tolerate TERFs. I'm non-binary, and we believe that you are who you are, and that there doesn't need to be some medical stigma or some requirement for you to identify in the way that is correct for you. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about the problematic nature of these books, and the nature of reviewing literature is that sometimes you're going to deal with stuff that's shitty. And we just wanted to make perfectly clear that even though we read the books, even though we enjoy the Harry Potter books, we will never accept TERF rhetoric when we hear it, and we will fight against it. And I hope that for any other non-binary or other trans people who read the things that she said, I hope that you weren't too terribly hurt by that, and I'm sorry for the pain it might have inflicted on you, because I know it sucked for me. So anyway, sorry, that was a kind of serious note, but we'll let you get to the episode. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to This Is Lit, a podcast where we drink and talk about our favorite books. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Casey.
So raise a glass and let's get started.
Okay, Liz, what are you drinking?
I am drinking hot cocoa.
Me too.
Yours is spiked.
Mine's special. It has bourbon in it.
Yes, it is New Year's Eve, if all goes according to plan.
Yeah, happy 2020, bitches.
Happy 2020. Congratulations, it's an election year.
Oh, God, why would you say that? I'm trying to enjoy myself right now. So, this is the final Harry Potter book. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. We've been doing this all fucking year.
Half a year, yeah.
That's
half
nuts.
a year.
It feels like it's been a million years since we started this series.
Yes.
And now we're finishing it.
We are.
And I had forgotten until I started reading just how many people die in this fucking book.
So many people die. I mean, it's not George R.R. Martin level, but...
I mean, when I was 17, it felt pretty fucking traumatic, you know? So, yeah. So this book picks up pretty much where the last one left off. Dumbledore's dead.
Dumbledore's dead.
Voldemort is now publicly recruiting.
Yes, and is doing everything he can to take over the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, he's trying to take over the Ministry for Magic. And Harry finds out that the protection that his childhood home, his super abusive, super horrible, super miserable childhood home of the last 17 years.
The moment he becomes 17.
Because once he's 17, he's considered of age in the wizarding community and no longer a child, so he cannot be protected. The Order of the Phoenix...
But it also means the Ministry no longer will have the track on him.
Yes.
So a week before...
the Order of the Phoenix explains the situation to the Dursleys, and they are going to move the Dursleys into a secure location. Like, the Dursleys... This is the only time I really feel any measure of pity for the Dursleys, because they've been so horrible to Harry for so long.
The only person I feel pity for in the Dursleys would be Dudley.
I don't know. I feel some pity for Petunia. The thing is, it's like you're being put into witness protection because you knew somebody.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like normal witness protection. It's like magical witness protection. Like, the person that wants to kill you is like magic and you're not. And like it just is, that's a really scary thing. And Dudley actually does offer Harry a handshake.
He does.
As they leave and says, I'm sorry.
I never thought you were a waste of space.
I never thought you were a waste of space. He doesn't, there's not a lot of time.
No.
For him to be like, I'm sorry for, the bullying.
But Vernon Dudley thinks it's a ploy for Harry to get the house. He's like, really? Because I already have another house.
Yeah.
All the happy memories here. Harry is, finally like, you're being ridiculous. I am trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Even though you are a piece of shit.
Petunia, I really do think Petunia loved her sister. And I think jealousy kind of ruined that relationship.
I think you can't hate somebody unless you loved them first.
Yeah. So I feel bad for Petunia, and I feel like Petunia did see a lot of Lily in Harry, which is why she struggled so much with him.
She saw a lot of Lily's heart in Harry.
Yeah. So the Dursleys are taken away, and Harry's told, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're all going to take Polyjuice Potion to look like you."
Yes.
There's like 7 or 8 of them.
7
Order of the
Harrys.
Phoenix. 7 Harrys. Which include Fred and George, Mad-Eye Moody, Nymphadora Tonks, Kingsley
Lupin,
Shacklebolt, Lupin,
Kingsley,
and I don't remember. Is it? It's Mundungus.
Mundungus.
It's fucking Mundungus. That's right.
The coward.
He blows it.
Yeah.
So there are 7 of them, and they are all going to take Polyjuice Potion and look like Harry. He's not super keen on this plan because he doesn't want them to be.
And Fred or George are like, yeah, heaven forbid 6 of us should hold you down and take some of your hair.
So they take Harry's hair and they take Polyjuice Potion. They all dress in identical outfits.
Yes.
And they're going to fly.
Because even though he's not 17 yet, that means the Ministry can track him if they use the Flu Network. The Flu Network is being tracked. It's like the Ministry is... The good people are doing everything they can to try and hold on to the Ministry, but the Ministry is crumbling.
It's gonna fall.
They know it's only a matter of time.
So
they have to use ways they can't track.
So like Harry's gonna
ride broomsticks, and the flying motorcycle.
So they're going to fly. Some of them are on Thestrals, some of them are on broomsticks, some are on the flying motorcycle.
And this is the first major death.
So they are going to the burrow.
Yes.
And Death Eaters come down on pretty much immediately.
Yeah, they knew he was being moved.
The only reason Harry survives this, there's 2 reasons Harry survives this. One is because he's a tremendous flyer.
Yes.
And the other is because of Hedwig. His owl, which he has had since the first book, who was a gift to him from Hagrid.
Yes. As kind of a symbol of him entering the wizarding world.
She actually flies up between him and Voldemort. Another Death Eater. But it's not Voldemort. Because Voldemort actually gets the spell
because she's in
off
her cage and
she
gets in front of Harry.
She flies up between Harry and the killing curse, and it hits her and kills her.
Yes.
Which, let me tell you, I did not expect to have a full-blown breakdown over the death of an owl. But I sure did.
But that is... JK Rowling has said that is to symbolize, like, the death of Harry's childhood.
And so Hedwig dies... And Harry very nearly dies. Voldemort comes right up on him and casts a killing curse at him, but Harry's wand
is like, oh no, son.
Deflects it. It goes back to Goblet of Fire and what Dumbledore told him about the Priori Incantatem, about
even
their wands sharing
Voldemort
force.
has Lucius Malfoy's wand at this point.
Yes. It still works because there's a lot of very complicated wand lore that we are about to learn in this book that goes beyond the shared course.
Yes.
So, they escape. He gets back to the burrow.
I think it also has something to do with what is revealed at the end of the book.
Yes. Well, that's part of the wand lore.
Yes.
So they get back to the burrow.
Ted Tonks.
No, we're not done yet.
No.
They get back to the burrow, and Harry gets back, and they're waiting for people to get back.
They're waiting for people to get back. People have missed their portkey.
Fred and George get back, and George is badly injured.
Yes, he's missing an ear.
He's missing an ear, which he, of course, makes very light of. And they're kind of joking about this and being very light about this until Tonks arrives and tells them that Mad-Eye Moody is dead.
No, Remus tells them.
That
Mad-Eye is
Moody
dead.
died.
Moody died.
Mad-Eye Moody.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah,
upon leaving, pretty much.
He was killed. Right off the bat.
He was killed because Voldemort was there, went after the Mundungus Harry. Mundungus got scared and apparated away, and the curse hit Mad-Eye.
Yeah, Mundungus basically revealed he was not Harry.
Yes.
And so...
this is also when we discover that people think that Harry's signature spell is Expelliarmus.
Yeah. Yeah, because they figure out which...
Because Harry sees the kid.
Well, because Harry uses it.
Yeah.
When they're flying away.
Because he sees someone he knows and he doesn't want to hurt them.
And so they figure out that it's Harry. Which one of them is actually Harry, based on the fact that he uses that spell. So I don't know that it would so much be they say that Harry's signature spell is Expelliarmus, or it actually in fact is, which I think is an interesting thing to say about a character whose entire life and like significance in the world is like you're going to have to kill a person, and the spell that becomes his signature spell is a disarming spell.
Yes, it's a,
because Harry Potter is not a killer.
It's kind of like if you ever go into battle and you get a choice between a sword or a shield, you always pick the shield.
Yeah, so Harry gets to the burrow. Moody and Hedwig die in the crossfire. And
when 12 dine together, or when 13 dine together, the first to rise is the first to die. So this is another prediction of Trelawney's that becomes true later, because Remus is the first one to stand up to go volunteer look for Moody's body.
So Harry, Ron, and Hermione make these preparations at the burrow to leave and go look for the Horcruxes. Hermione reveals that she has wiped her parents' memories.
Yes, and shipped them off to Australia.
And sent them off to Australia, which is absolutely emotionally devastating if you think about it.
Have you read the theory that Hermione did this after book 4? And just because she was always at the burrow, every time we see her after book 4, she's at the burrow all the time?
No, but I hate that.
Yeah, I know that she would do that because she knew Voldemort was back. So there is a theory going around the internet that Hermione wiped her parents' memories far earlier than book 7 to keep them safe.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Thanks for that.
This is going to be a very devastating Harry Potter episode.
They also get their gifts from Dumbledore.
Yes.
Harry gets a golden snitch.
Yes.
Ron gets
which have flesh memories.
Ron gets the Deluminator.
Yes.
Which he, which we saw Dumbledore use in the first book.
Yes.
Can turn the lights out. And Hermione gets a copy of Tales of Beedle the Bard.
Yes.
They have no idea what the significance of these is at this point, but they hang on to them. And they decide to stick around for long enough to go to Bill and Fleur's wedding.
Yes.
Bill and Fleur are still getting married, despite the fact that he is now lycanthropic in nature.
Yes. He's not a full-blown werewolf, but he has werewolf-y tendencies.
So they are getting married, but during their wedding, the Ministry for Magic finally falls to Voldemort.
Yes, and we get a
new Death Eater for Minister for Magic.
Yeah.
And
so everybody is like, GTFO!
And so the wedding is actually attacked by Death Eaters, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione flee together to number 12 Grimmauld Place. They don't know where anyone else is or how they're doing.
And Harry wants to contact them, but they know they can't.
Yeah.
Because Arthur Weasley still works for the Ministry of Magic.
He's trying to help from within the inside.
Yeah.
So, they do exactly as I predicted many moons before this.
Yes, many moon.
Creature, as much as he hates them, has to follow Harry's orders because he came with the house, essentially.
Yes.
Which, don't even get me into the house elf.
It gets better.
Well, yeah, but... So, Creature does, in fact, reveal to them...
that R.A.B. was Regulus Black. Sirius's younger brother.
And that he is the one who had stolen the locket, but it was seized by the Ministry for Magic.
Yes.
By Dolores fucking Umbridge.
No, it was, what's-his-face who was ransacking the house. Do you remember?
No, Mundungus ransacked the house.
And
he was trying to sell it.
He was trying to sell it.
And Dolores Umbridge
Dolores fucking Umbridge
seized
it. And Mundungus
gave
it to her because he didn't want to go to jail.
Mundungus ransacked the house in Mundungus's defense, which I will not defend Mundungus Fletcher very much. She got Mad-Eye Moody killed, and I hate him.
He's a coward.
But, in his defense, the locket specifically, Harry is the one who threw it out in book 5.
Yes.
Because I immediately knew whenever they first mentioned R.A.B. in the 6th book. I told you this in the last episode.
You knew, yeah.
I said, R.A.B. is Regulus Black. I know, because I remember Harry throwing out a strange heavy locket that nobody could open. Yeah. And so they just trashed it. So Mundungus took it out of the trash, tried to sell it in Knockturn Alley, and was arrested by Dolores Umbridge, who then confiscated it and took it to the Ministry of Magic.
And through this retelling of the story, Harry realizes what Creature had to do twice, which sucks. And, shows through this retelling, he shows a little bit more compassion to Creature and house elves in general, and even Ron does the same thing.
Yeah, because Creature was made to drink the potion.
And they're like, this is awful, and that's shitty, because Harry's like, Dumbledore was a very powerful wizard, and he had a choice, Creature didn't. And so Harry is sitting here going like, Creature was tortured twice in a horrible, horrible way. And one time he did it because he was ordered to, and one time he did it out of love for his master.
Mm-hmm.
And so Harry and Creature's relationship gets a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit. However, unfortunately, when they leave Number 12 Grimmauld Place to go and infiltrate the Ministry for Magic, they break the protective spell over it.
Yes.
Because there's no Secret Keeper anymore.
Well, first they drink a boatload of Polyjuice Potion.
Yes, they drink Polyjuice Potion and turn themselves into... Hermione turns herself into Bellatrix Lestrange. Yeah?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's the
Who do they turn
cup.
themselves into here?
That's the cup. They turn themselves into Ministry workers.
Well, yeah, but they're Death Eaters too, right?
Harry is, ironically.
Yeah. Harry's the only one who turns into a...
Ron is turned into a magical janitor. And Hermione is turned into a stenog.
And then Harry is one of the Death Eaters who is working at the Ministry.
Yes.
Now. And they go in. There's a whole bunch of shenanigans here.
Yeah, a whole bunch of shenanigans. And to get the locket from Dolores Umbridge. Dolores Umbridge, who happens to be holding air quote trials for Muggleborns.
Mm-hmm.
After they have
Well, she's wearing the locket.
She's wearing the fucking locket, and she's able to cast a Patronus at the same time. She is wearing a Horcrux, which is supposed to corrupt your evil, evil, evil little soul, and she's able to produce a Patronus. So she's able to, like, apparently all these evil little all these evil thoughts are making her exceptionally happy. Ew. Dolores Umbridge is one of the worst
She's a monster.
people in the world.
Yeah, so Umbridge is wearing the locket. They managed to get it from her. They managed to escape, albeit narrowly. But because... Well, Dumbledore...
But we also find out that it's like...
I don't remember exactly how the protection of Grimmauld Place is, because Dumbledore had originally been the Secret Keeper.
And so then, when Dumbledore died, the members of the Order of the Phoenix became the Secret Keepers. So then there were 12 Secret Keepers.
But then Moody died.
Yes.
And that weakened the protection.
Yeah.
And then... So then when they left the house, it basically just broke what was left.
Yes, because they had Death Eaters waiting, knowing that Grimmauld Place was there. They just couldn't get in because they didn't, no Secret Keepers had betrayed the secret of it.
Right.
And so, like, when we're in the Ministry, we see a lot of disturbing things. One are the air quote trials for Muggleborns. Basically, their wands are being seized. They have a Muggleborn registry.
Yeah.
They have, they're separating families. Their magic is might. So they're basically saying we are the superior race. They have statues of wizards being upheld by muggles. And it's very
ugly.
Very disturbing. They're selling pamphlets about the threat of muggle blood mixing with wizard blood.
Yeah. We gotta keep
I know, we gotta keep moving. It's bad.
So, this is when we begin Harry Potter and the very long camping trip.
Yes, Harry Potter and the long camping trip.
Because they cannot go back to Grimmauld Place. They have one of those tents that they had during...
It's bigger on the inside.
During the...
Just like Hermione's beaded bag that she keeps in her sock.
So they have one of these tents and they go into the countryside with this locket. They don't know how to destroy it. And they start arguing about it. And things get very, very hostile.
They do.
Unfortunately, the influence of the Horcrux is very similar to the influence of the One Ring in Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it's all corrupting.
And they are all getting very, very tense with each other, arguing about how to get rid of it. This culminates in Ron abandoning the group.
Yes, it does.
They've been listening on the radio there's a rebellion radio. Potter Watch that has been kind of keeping updates on who's dead, who's still fighting, where they are. And Ron can't take it anymore. And
because Ron is waiting day in and day out to hear the name of somebody he loves.
And this also does not help that the influence of the locket is making him think that Harry and Hermione are excluding him and keeping him out of the loop. And since he's in
and
love
that
with Hermione,
is in love with Harry and not him. What is he compared to the boy who lived?
So
and Ron's always had...
He's always had an element of this sort of jealousy, insecurity as a younger brother. And so he leaves.
Yeah.
He leaves them, and Harry and Hermione continue to find out more about Dumbledore's past.
Yeah.
They decide... Harry's having these dreams.
Yeah.
Visions.
And
He's
getting visions of Voldemort.
Voldemort is going around...
Voldemort is in search of a powerful wand to beat Harry's.
He kidnaps... Ollivander, who made Harry's wand.
Mm-hmm.
He is asking... He's torturing all these wand makers. He's asking them questions about why Harry's wand was able to force his away, because he's like, I want to kill Harry Potter, but his wand protected him from me of its own volition.
And so Voldemort is like, it can't be this kid, it has to be his wand. And so Voldemort goes in search of a more powerful wand to beat Harry's.
So he's torturing these wand makers. He's trying to find a more powerful wand. Harry and Hermione decide that they are going to go to Godric's Hollow.
Yes.
Because not only is Godric's Hollow where Harry grew up, or where Harry lived, it's where Dumbledore grew up.
Yes. And Rita Skeeter is releasing a tell-all book about the life of Albus Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm. With information that she interviewed Bathilda Bagshot.
Yes.
Another longtime resident of Godric's Hollow.
And magical historian.
Who knew Dumbledore growing up. And we find out that Dumbledore's best friend as a teenager was Gellert Grindelwald.
Yes.
Who
was Wizard Hitler.
Who was the evilest dark wizard of all time until Voldemort came along. So they were best friends growing up, and magic is might, that whole concept of wizards are the greater race. Dumbledore even bought into that with Grindelwald for a long time.
Dumbledore and Grindelwald pretty much had a summer of love.
They don't
literally.
They don't get into the details of it because JK Rowling is a coward. But Dumbledore and Grindelwald were not only best friends, but it is indicated that they were, in a relationship, lovers. That it was like a first romantic relationship,
which is why
the first and only romantic relationship that Dumbledore ever experienced. Dumbledore, obviously there was the whole drama in 2007 of Dumbledore is gay. I wrote him that way. But Dumbledore,
really, I couldn't tell.
But Dumbledore, more or less, Dumbledore was gay until everything went sideways with Grindelwald, and then he was basically asexual for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Because Grindelwald wanted Dumbledore to come traveling with him to find the Deathly Hallows, and Dumbledore said he couldn't because he had this sister, Ariana.
Yes.
Who
was now alluded
mentally ill.
Yes. She would have fits, and her magic would come out
Well, she had been tortured by muggles when she was very young.
Yes.
And that is what had gotten Dumbledore's father sent to Azkaban, is that he had retaliated against the muggle teenagers who had tortured his 7-year-old daughter.
Which is valid.
And so she would have these fits, and her magic would come out in huge bursts. In the new canon of the series...
Yes, it is alluded to that she is an Obscurus.
Obscurus, which is not something we knew about at the time of the books, but with the new Fantastic Beasts movies, Obscurus is a magical child who cannot control their abilities and whose abilities
because something has happened to make them repress their magic.
Yes. And so Ariana has these huge fits, and Dumbledore's like, I can't, I have to stay with Ariana. My mother is,
my mother is dead.
My mother is dead, and it's just me and my brother taking care of my sister. And Grindelwald and Dumbledore get into a fight.
Yes, with
Aberforth. Aberforth is involved in this fight. The three young men are involved in this fight, and someone hits and kills.
A spell hits and kills Ariana, and they never know
whose spell it was. But Grindelwald flees. And Aberforth leaves Dumbledore.
Aberforth blames Dumbledore.
He says he's
Dumbledore blames himself.
Aberforth blames Dumbledore and walks away from him. Basically, he's like, I won't ever forgive you for this.
And this is kind of like, but this is when Dumbledore's like, he realizes I need to check my ego.
Yeah, because he was fucking getting on board with wizard fucking genocide there.
And he's like, because of my ego and my thirst for power led to the death of my sister, who did absolutely nothing. It led to the death of an innocent child. Yeah. And so that's why when they're always like, oh, well, we should get him for Minister of Magic. He's like, no, I can't be trusted with power. That's a bad thing.
So, they want to find more information about these Deathly Hallows that Dumbledore and Grindelwald were into. So they go to meet Bathilda Bagshot in Godric's Hollow, which gives us one of the most...
We don't really know about the Deathly Hallows yet. We see the symbol on a gravestone.
Yes, in Godric's Hollow. But
Godric's Hollow.
They're going to meet Bathilda Bagshot.
Including the Potters.
To get more information about Dumbledore.
Yes.
And...
to see if maybe he would have given her any idea of how to destroy these Horcruxes or where else they would be.
And this is when it gets... This is probably one of the most horrifying moments of the whole thing for me.
Especially for me, since I hate snakes.
So they go to Bathilda Bagshot's house. Turns out Bathilda Bagshot has been dead for some time.
And Nagini has been wearing her as a skin.
Nagini has been wearing her skin as a human disguise. The snake attacks them, and they escape, but Harry's wand is broken.
Broken in the process.
So Harry's not got his wand anymore.
Which
God, is a big
Harry
blow.
and Ron would have died so many times if it weren't for Hermione. Hermione is a badass.
Well, it's a huge blow for Harry because
huge.
Not only was his wand the wand he had been carrying since he was 11 years old, it was also the wand that saved him from Voldemort.
Yeah.
In his 4th year, and then again at the beginning of this book.
Because of the twin cores of his wand.
So
and now that this wand is gone, that level of protection is gone.
So this is probably the bleakest time in the whole book. Yes. It's Harry and Hermione in the woods, broken wand. Harry's angry, Hermione's angry.
They have
They
one
can't
wand.
destroy the fucking locket. And then Harry is out
getting... And they don't know
getting...
where any other Horcruxes are.
And then Harry's out getting water one day, and he sees
he's on guard, and he sees a silver doe.
He sees a doe Patronus in the woods. And he follows it, and it leads him to a pond.
Which has the sword of Godric Gryffindor in the bottom, which Dumbledore left Harry the sword of Godric Gryffindor, but since it was a school heirloom, it wasn't Dumbledore's to give away.
So, Harry dives into the lake to get the sword.
Into the frozen fucking lake.
And the Horcrux around his neck tries to
drown
kill him. It tightens around his neck and holds him down because it does not want him to get that sword.
This boy has a death wish.
And Harry very nearly drowns, but he is pulled from the frozen pond by Ron. Ron used the Deluminator to get back to them.
Yes.
That's what Dumbledore gave him the Deluminator for. Turns out it was able to lead him back to Harry just in time to save his life.
Because Dumbledore knew Ron would need a little bit more guidance.
And so Ron saves Harry and then uses the sword to destroy the locket.
Which is very significant because that locket has symbolized all of Ron's insecurity and what he can and cannot do. And so Harry is like, you have the only right to destroy this thing.
Now, Ron comes back with Harry to the campsite and Hermione is not glad to see him. She's pretty fucking mad at him for abandoning them.
Which I don't blame her.
I don't either.
Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a happy reunion, and she immediately starts, like, beating the shit out of him.
She's like, no, I don't.
Which, I loved that scene in the movie. Harry, where's my wand? I don't know, Hermione, I don't know. I don't have it. Where's my wand?
So Hermione and Ron still have a bit of a frosty relationship. He's trying to make up for it, and
he is. He's trying to make up for it, and she's like, "No, I need to be mad at you."
She's pretty much non-responsive.
She's so mad at him.
So Hermione is looking through Tales of the Beetle of the Bard one day, and she sees the Deathly Hallows symbol, which they also saw on gravestones.
And it's in a bunch of Dumbledore's letters in the book Rita Skeeter published. And so,
a bunch of his letters to Grindelwald, and then she realizes that she's seen it before.
At Bill and Fleur's wedding, around the neck.
Lovegood was wearing it as a necklace.
Who is Luna Lovegood's father. And he is the one, he publishes The Quibbler, and so he's the only free press right now, and he's the one that's telling the actual story of what's really going on. So, which the Ministry is trying everything to hush up.
So they go to Xenophilius Lovegood
and
try
ask
and get
him
more
about
information.
That symbol.
And he tells them...
He tells them the story of the Deathly Hallows.
Of the Deathly Hallows, which is the story of the three brothers. There are three brothers. One of them wishes... They defeat death.
Yes. At a stream. Which normally people would die in.
There's a river that they have to cross, and death expects that they would drown crossing it, but they're very clever, and they all three find their way across the river without dying. And he says, since you have beaten me, you can have one gift from me, death.
Yes.
And the oldest brother asks for a powerful wand, the most powerful of wands.
So he could humiliate death further.
And so death gives him the elder wand. The second brother asks for a way to bring back his loved ones because he has a dead
lover. The Resurrection Stone.
And so he's given the Resurrection Stone. And the third brother wants to avoid death further, so he says, I want a way to hide from even you.
Yes.
And so Death gives him a perfect invisibility cloak.
Yes.
Because invisibility cloaks in general exist.
Yeah.
But this invisibility cloak is a perfect cloak.
Yes.
And
some of them change with age, or the color's not right, or anything like that. But Death's cloak of invisibility is absolute and perfect. It won't show shadows. It won't, it's just a perfect invisibility cloak.
So Ron and Hermione are kind of skeptical about this being real.
It has one of the best lines where, Harry is like, Death has an invisibility cloak, and Ron's like, yeah, sometimes he gets tired of running at people full on and flapping his arms. So we were introduced to the Deathly Hallows, the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak.
Ron has heard this story before, so he's very skeptical. He's like, it's a fairy tale. And Hermione is also pretty skeptical. But Harry, having been having these visions, thinks that Voldemort is after the Elder Wand.
Well, also, too, Ron was raised in the magical world, so Ron has heard of powerful wands like the Elder Wand, the Death Stick. So he knows that there are powerful wands out there, so Ron's a little less skeptical than Hermione. Hermione is like, it's Hogswallop. There's no way.
But Harry, between his own invisibility cloak being much better the quality of any invisibility cloak he's ever seen, and the fact that the Deathly Hallows symbol was on his father's gravestone.
Yes, and Ron also points that out about Harry's cloak as well, is that it's a perfect invisibility cloak, and we know it's old, we know it was your father's. Normally, invisibility cloaks don't last that long.
So, the invisibility cloak, they believe, is, in fact, from one of the Deathly Hallows.
Yes.
And then Harry has a vision of Voldemort breaking into Dumbledore's tomb and stealing his wand, which confirms for him that the Elder Wand is real.
That's after Malfoy Manor.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, because Xenophilius Lovegood has been publishing the only magazine that will speak out against, and he's caught the attention of the Death Eaters.
And so they have kidnapped Luna, his daughter.
In order to protect his daughter, he contacted them before he started telling this long, drawn-out story. And the Snatchers come and take Harry, Ron, and Hermione back to Malfoy Manor. Because Bellatrix thinks that they stole...
Well, they escape the Lovegoods, but when they land somewhere in the forest, they're caught by Snatchers anyway.
So Bellatrix
with
thinks...
Dean Thomas and, who was the other one? Griphook.
Luna's with them, too. Because they've
in the forest, they captured Dean Thomas and Griphook with them.
So Dean Thomas, Griphook, and the trio are captured, taken to Malfoy Manor.
Yes.
Bellatrix wants to interrogate Hermione because she thinks that they have stolen her...
They think they have stolen the sword of Godric Gryffindor out of her vault.
Right, because she had it in the vault.
She had it in her vault at Gringotts.
And they're like, no, we just found it in the woods. But she is torturing Hermione, calling her a mudblood. The others are all being kept in the basement.
And that's when they meet Luna.
That's when they find Luna in the basement. And
Harry kept the shard of mirror communication in his sock, and so he sees a blue eye, which looks like Albus Dumbledore's, and says, help us, we're in the basement of Malfoy Manor.
So Dobby pops in.
Yes.
And
Dobby! Dobby.
And they are trying to escape from the basement, and Peter Pettigrew cuts them off.
Yes.
But
Harry reminds him, you owe me your life.
Because he saved Peter's life from Lupin and Sirius 4 years previous. And when he reminds Peter Pettigrew of this, his enchanted magical hand turns on him and he strangles himself to death. Cool. And so they rush up the stairs.
There's also another thing where it's like all 4 Marauders died in Harry's presence. And they died protecting Harry. All 4 of them.
Yeah. Whatever. So they rush up the stairs to protect Hermione.
Yes, there's a lot of emotion in this book.
This is an interesting thing. I'm sorry. We've been talking for 30 minutes and I haven't had a chance yet to dive into my feelings about this.
Please.
Draco Malfoy is there.
Yes.
It's Malfoy Manor.
That's why they were taken to Malfoy Manor, was so Draco could identify Harry.
But Hermione had cast a
stinging charm on Harry's face.
So he doesn't 100% look like himself. And Malfoy knows it's Harry.
He knows it's Harry.
But he won't say it's Harry. He's very evasive about it. You can tell that this is a 17-year-old kid who's like in way over his head and he does not want to be in this.
His parents are like, all will be forgiven if we turn over Harry Potter.
And he's still not willing to do it. He's like, I I really just can't say. I don't know.
Because he knows if he turns him over, there's blood on his hands.
Now, that being said, when they come upstairs to rescue Hermione, he does fight with the Death Eaters to try and stop them.
Yes.
But Harry, again, using Expelliarmus, his signature spell, disarms Draco of his Hawthorn wand.
And takes Draco's wand.
Because, he doesn't have a wand. So he takes Draco's wand, and they escape. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Luna, Griphook, Dean, and Dobby
Ollivander
are apparated out. But as they are apparating out, Bellatrix throws a knife, and it gets Dobby. And so Dobby dies on the beach outside of Bill and Fleur's house.
Yes. His last words are Harry Potter. I'm still not over Dobby's death. Still not over the death of Dobby.
It's pretty bad.
Like, I'm getting choked up right now just talking about it.
I mean,
It's been how many years, and I'm still not over Dobby's death. Yeah. Dobby died a freaking hero. And deserves all the recognition he has. And Harry kind of loses it.
Yeah.
With Dobby's death. He's like, I want to bury him. I want to bury him properly. I want to do it without magic. I want to get him a headstone. I want to do this proper. Because Dobby deserves it.
Yeah. So he buries Dobby on the beach outside of Fleur and Bill's cottage.
Shell Cottage, yes.
And they all are staying at the cottage for a while.
And so Harry is choosing. He knows Voldemort's doing something.
So they realize that...
So he has to choose between who he wants to interrogate first, Griphook or Ollivander. So it's down to Horcruxes or Hollows. And he chooses Horcruxes.
So he talks to Ollivander.
He talks to Griphook first about what could possibly be in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault. So they think that she could have another Horcrux hidden in the vault.
She has a fake version of the Sword of Gryffindor. They know that because they have the real one.
They have the real version.
But it stands to reason that she would have another Horcrux in her vault as well.
Yes.
And so Harry wants to know how they can successfully infiltrate the most secure magical bank on the planet. And Griphook
says, I will help you if you give me the Sword of Gryffindor, which is the only weapon they have to defeat the Horcruxes. They don't see they have much of a choice, so they agree. They said, we will give you the Sword of Gryffindor. They don't specify when they will give him the Sword of Gryffindor.
Right.
But they say, we will, because the Sword of Gryffindor is goblin-made, and goblins have very different ideas of ownership than wizards do.
Yes. So they go into the vault. They go into Gringotts, and this is whenever Hermione...
and then they interview Ollivander about the wands.
Yes, and he does confirm that
there are powerful wands that exist. However, we also discover that Ollivander does not believe in the Deathly Hallows.
No, he does not. He says there may be a more powerful wand, but part of the reason that I was useless to Voldemort is because I don't think I don't believe in the Deathly Hallows.
A more powerful wand would not cancel out the twin cores that you have because the wand chooses the wizard. You both were chosen by phoenix feathers.
And that's when Harry has the vision of Voldemort breaking into Dumbledore's tomb, desecrating his tomb.
And Ron is like the most powerful wand in the world, Harry. Of course Ron would go for power.
Yeah. So...
And Harry's like, it's too late. He has it.
So he's like, Voldemort already has it. We're going to Gringotts.
Yeah.
Hermione takes Polyjuice Potion, disguising herself as
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Bellatrix Lestrange. And she needs to get into her vault.
Yep.
They go into Gringotts.
Shenanigans happen.
More shenanigans. There's a fucking dragon.
There's a fucking dragon.
They've been telling us there's a dragon in Gringotts for 7 years, and we finally
get to see the dragon.
Finally paid off.
And it's a poor, abused dragon, which...
A blind.
Blind!
They free it.
Yes.
But they
well done, dragon!
They also get Helga Hufflepuff's cup, but Griphook
takes the sword
did not
of Gryffindor,
trust them, and so he steals the sword of Gryffindor
and turns them over. And he's like, "Oh, these are thieves!" And so they jump on the back of a dragon and escape.
So now we're in the fucking woods again.
Well,
they
Harry,
destroy
at the edge of the lake. Harry pretty much decides he's like, the last one has to be at Hogwarts.
They destroy the cup. So now we've destroyed the cup, the ring, the locket, the journal,
We have the journal. I'm going to do the order they show up. The journal, the ring, the locket and the cup. And then we've got...
They're like, there must be something of Rowena Ravenclaw's at the school.
Yes.
Because we know he never got the Sword of Gryffindor. We know that's why he wanted to become the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. So he didn't get that, but it seems fair that he did get something of Rowena Ravenclaw's. Yeah. And it still must be at the school.
And we know Nagini is the sixth one.
Nagini is the sixth one.
Which, Nagini is with him all the time now.
So they have
Voldemort has now figured out that they're hunting Horcruxes.
Yeah, Voldemort knows what they're doing now, and he has gone to Hogwarts.
After they took the cup of Helga Hufflepuff out of the Lestrange vault, he knows Harry is hunting Horcruxes.
So he is planning to protect everything further. So they're like, we have to get into the school and get the
So he's like,
tiara.
no, there's no way. And so Harry sees him checking all the places where he had Horcruxes, and they're all destroyed.
So he knows they have to get into Hogwarts and get whatever of Rowena Ravenclaw's it is that is a Horcrux before Voldemort does.
Even if it's not at Hogwarts, the only place that they could think of to look for something of Rowena Ravenclaw's would be Hogwarts.
Yes. So they
go to Hogsmeade.
They go to Hogsmeade.
Because you can't apparate inside Hogwarts grounds.
And in Hogsmeade...
Which, Severus Snape is now the headmaster of Hogwarts, and Ginny has gotten into trouble for trying to steal the sword of Godric Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm. Harry finds out that there is one more secret passage into Hogwarts.
It's a new one.
It is a new one that was built behind a painting in the Hog's Head. Turns out that the pub owner of the Hog's Head is Aberforth Dumbledore.
Yep.
And he has been working with Dumbledore's army.
Yes.
Who are still in the school.
Yes.
Fighting up against...
They've
reformed inside the school, and they are fighting against Snape and all of the Death Eaters that he's put into positions of power at the school.
What are the twins' names? The evil twins.
The Carrows.
The Carrows, yes.
Yeah, so they go through Luna and Dean and Harry and Ron and Hermione, go through the portrait into the Room of Requirement.
Yes.
Where they're met by Ginny and Neville and the rest of the Dumbledore's army.
Yes.
And
half the school, because they're hiding there.
Are hiding in the Room of Requirement because the school has become basically a police state.
Yeah.
The Carrows routinely torture students who don't follow their instructions. There are only a few teachers left, and the only reason they're there is try to mitigate the damage as much as possible and protect the students.
Yeah, the Carrows, Neville is beat to shit when we meet him because the Carrows said, oh yeah, we're practicing the Cruciatus Curse on first years, and he's like, I told them to kindly fuck off, and they did this to me, but it's fine. He's like, this happens all the time. Neville Longbottom is a fucking badass.
So Harry alerts the teachers who are still there.
Yes.
That are good.
Including McGonagall.
God
bless that woman.
That
he's here looking for something of Rowena Ravenclaw's.
And he mobilizes the student body. What actually happens at some point in this process, isn't that whenever the Carrow brother spits on her?
Yeah, he's under the invisibility cloak in the Ravenclaw common room.
And the one of the Carrows is talking with Dumbledore or with McGonagall and spits on her face, and Harry whips off the invisibility cloak and flings the guy across the room with
Cruciatus curses him. He's so bad he's able to cast an unforgivable curse.
And McGonagall turns around and goes, I don't think that was necessary.
And Harry's like, he spat on you.
He spat at you, man.
He's like, you don't spit on my mama McGonagall.
But he tells them, I'm looking for something in Rowena Ravenclaw's. I need to figure out what it is. And Luna says, why don't you ask the Grey Lady?
Yeah.
Because turns out the Grey Lady is Helena Ravenclaw, the daughter of Rowena.
Yeah, who was killed by the Bloody Baron because he was in love with her and she refused him, and in a rage he killed her.
Which is kind of fucked up if you think about it.
It's very Othello.
Well, I mean, but Othello doesn't end with the girl who was murdered by her husband being also forced into an eternity being ghosts side by side with him. Because the Bloody Baron is the ghost of Slytherin House and she's the ghost of Ravenclaw. So they have to spend eternity in each other's presence after he murdered her. And then presumably got executed for murder.
Yeah, so Helena did not have a happy life or a happy
And
afterlife.
she hated her mother.
So Harry because she could never be as great as her mother.
So Harry has to be very delicate in asking her about this.
Yes.
But he does find out that Ravenclaw had a diadem.
Which is a crown.
Yes, and he remembers that there was a diadem in the room of requirement.
Because he's like...
In the room of hidden things. That
Yes.
version of the room of requirement.
Because he's like, this is the one thing that I know that Dumbledore doesn't, is this about the room of requirement. Because Dumbledore never knew about the room of requirement.
Well, he found it once.
He found it
full of
once,
chamber
but
pots.
he didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So Ron and Hermione destroy Hufflepuff's cup with basilisk fangs.
From the Chamber of Secrets.
From the Chamber of Secrets. Ron opens the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, because Harry talks in his sleep. It's great.
Harry talks in his sleep, so Ron mocks the way he talks in his sleep. Which, first off, can you imagine being like 15 and like the kid in the bed next to you at your boarding school
hissing.
is like hissing and spitting in his sleep? Like, Jesus Christ. Gryffindor common room must have been a nightmare. So they then go into the room of requirement, into the room of lost things.
And then there's the Dean and Seamus pining as well.
And they're ambushed by Draco, Crabbe, and Goyle.
Yes.
Crabbe casts Fiend Fire, which is a demonic fire that is unable to be extinguished, to try and kill them. The fire destroys the diadem.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting, that one of the Death Eaters is who destroys the second to last Horcrux.
Crabbe was rash, and he was in it only for the violence.
And he destroys the diadem, but he also dies.
Yes, he is also killed in the Fiend Fire.
Harry saves Draco.
Harry does. He saves Draco. He saves Draco's life, and
They save Goyle too, don't they?
Yeah, Ron and Hermione
save
Goyle.
So Harry saves Draco, and Ron and Hermione save Goyle, but Crabbe is killed by the Fiend Fire. It also destroys the diadem.
Mm-hmm.
We missed something.
What did we miss?
So they've come back. This is right before they go and get the diadem. Harry meets back up with Ron and Hermione. They're like,
yes.
we use the basilisk fangs to destroy...
Oh my god, how did we miss that?
We use the
We're holding hands, how did we miss that?
We use the basilisk fangs to destroy the cup. And then Ron says, hang on. We've got to go let the house elves know we've got to get them out of here. And Hermione drops her armful of basilisk fangs and just launches herself into Ron's arms.
And just starts snogging him.
And Harry's like, we do not have time for... I appreciate that this has been a 7-year process for you guys, but
we do not have time for this.
There's a war going on.
And Ron's like, exactly, we might be dead by morning.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Chef's kiss.
Love it.
So good.
Love it.
Can't believe we forgot that. Yes, that
happens
happens
that's
right
the
before
part.
they go back into the room of requirement. But then...
okay.
So then, at this point, there is what we call the Battle of Hogwarts. Voldemort and his Death Eaters storm the school.
Yeah. Snape has abandoned his position as headmaster after he was forced to fight McGonagall, which I wouldn't want to fight her either. But we have the Battle of Hogwarts, where they say 7th years, if you want to stay and fight, that's your decision. We can't tell you no. But everyone else who's underage, get them out. We're getting them out through the secret tunnel in the room of requirement.
The one thing I hate about this, and we've got enough time, so I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
Is specifically that there's been a discussion about this for a long time. It's like, 7th years, if you want to stay and fight, you can. All the Slytherins need to go back to their common room.
Slytherins are done dirty.
The thing is, I do believe McGonagall's like, go back to your common room to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a certain element of like, you could be fighting against your own family members. We understand if you don't want to do that.
Yes.
But they're not even given the opportunity to join the fight.
Yeah.
They're not even given the option to join the fight. And not all Slytherins are Death Eaters.
No. Slytherin does not equal Death Eater.
Just because the majority of Death Eaters came from Slytherin at one point does not mean all Slytherins are Death Eaters.
Because Slytherin is the house of determination and ambition.
Yeah.
So, and normally ambition is associated with power.
So, that annoys me. But anyway, continuing on.
But ambition can also be fitting an entire pizza in your mouth.
The Battle of Hogwarts happens. During the Battle of Hogwarts, there are several significant things that happen. The first is that Molly Weasley...
That's later.
Is it
the
later?
The first is Percy Weasley commits treason against the Ministry of Magic by deciding to fight with his family.
Yes, Percy Weasley, who has been estranged from his family all this time because he was of his ambitions and his desire to be a part of the Ministry of Magic, comes back to his family.
Because as soon as Harry shows up, Neville sends word to the Order of the Phoenix that Harry's here, we're ready to fight. So everybody starts showing up. The Weasleys, Kingsley Shacklebolt,
the entire Order of the Phoenix shows up.
Remus, Tonks shows up.
Yeah, the entire
Molly
Order of the
shows
Phoenix
up.
shows up in addition to Dumbledore's army and the Seventh Years who are going to stay and fight. And Percy Weasley reconciles with his family.
Yes. Moments before.
So, the fighting starts, and
You never kill just one twin.
and Fred and
You never kill just one twin. How dare you?
Fred and George are fighting against some of the Death Eaters, and Fred is
Crushed.
killed. Yeah. So it's just it's a lot because like Ron has spent the entire book like in mortal fear of his family's lives. Like they got ambushed at like a wedding for his family.
Yeah.
And then he's been listening to the radio. Like he's got
Ron's
a brother,
worst fear has come true.
and George is absolutely devastated because his twin has been murdered. And they even say like that Fred is like still laughing when he gets hit by the curse that kills him, which is very in character.
Because he was laughing because Percy made a joke.
Yeah, Percy made a joke like they were fighting together, side by side. They had finally
They were
reconciled,
brothers again.
and he was laughing at Percy's joke when he got hit by a killing curse. So the Weasleys are in mourning.
We also discover that Remus and Tonks, who had just
that's not happened yet. No. Then we find out that Colin Creevey was killed.
Yes, because he snuck back through to
He's
fight.
not a seventh year, but he snuck back through the passageway to help fight.
He's, what, 2 years younger than Harry? He's 15?
He's the same year as Jenny. He's 16.
Is he 16?
But he's been killed as well. And then Harry comes back into the Great Hall where the Weasleys are mourning over Fred and sees Remus and Tonks' bodies as well.
Yes, and they had just had a little boy named Ted, who was named after Tonks' father,
dad.
who was killed because he was a Muggle-born.
So, yeah, so Remus and Tonks' kid is orphaned.
He's less than a year old.
Colin Creevey and Fred Weasley are killed. And then Voldemort is not coming to the school yet. He's been encamped outside of the school. And
He gives him an ultimatum. You have an hour to deliver me Harry Potter.
He gives him an ultimatum to deliver Harry Potter, and Harry is in this room with all of these dead people, and at this point, he goes down to the boathouse, and he witnesses...
Because they still need to... Harry's like, if I'm going to do this, I need to kill the snake.
So he goes down to the boathouse. He's trying to figure out how to kill the snake. Snape is meeting with Voldemort at the boathouse because Voldemort has come to the conclusion that since the Elder Wand is not working correctly for him, Snape must be its true master.
Because Snape was the one who killed Dumbledore.
And so he asks Snape to come meet him down at the boathouse, and he kills Snape. He lets the snake attack Snape and kill him.
And as Snape lay dying...
Harry comes out of hiding. Literally Voldemort rolls up. He's like, Snape, you've been a very loyal follower. You've helped me greatly in my goals here. Fucking bye.
Yeah.
Lets his snake rip Snape's throat out and then just walks out. Now, it's very fortunate that he let this happen this way because if you
were an evil villain trying to get rid of somebody, stay to make sure they're dead.
Well, the thing is, if he had used the killing curse, Snape would not have had those extra moments.
No.
But because he chose, and Harry is kind of drawn here by a sense of curiosity, kind of a sick.
Yeah.
He arrives and he comes in and Snape sees him, and he gives Harry a memory.
Yes.
And he asks Harry to look at him, and he dies.
Yes. You have your mother's eyes. So Harry goes to the pensieve.
Oh my god, this whole chapter is just a lot. There's an entire chapter here of Snape's memories.
Oh god.
Starting...
This is when we really find out whose side Snape is on. So it's been whose side is he on for 7 books.
And so Snape, the first memory starts out, Snape is a poor kid.
Yeah.
Living in a very, very poor neighborhood and befriends, as a child, before he's even old enough to go to school, befriends Lily Evans.
Because Lily is a witch, and he knows. And he's been watching her. He's been stalking her.
I mean, at that point, I wouldn't even call it stalking. Like, they're not even 10 years old. They're kids. He's lonely and abused, and he's looking for a friend at that point. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot I will trash Snape for, but I won't call a 10-year-old a stalker. So he finds this girl. They become friends.
Yes.
And sure enough, she gets a letter to go to Hogwarts, and they go to Hogwarts together. They've been friends for some time now when they go to Hogwarts, so he expects that friendship to continue at Hogwarts, and they are sorted into 2 different houses.
Yes,
Slytherin
Lily
and Gryffindor.
is sorted into Gryffindor, and Severus Snape is sorted into Slytherin.
Then, of course, we already know about some of the bullying that Snape endured.
Yes.
From James Potter.
The Marauders.
And the Marauders.
But we also see James saving his life.
He's saving his life because Sirius tried to kill him via Lupin, which let's not even get into how
We're not getting into that.
How fucked up that is. It's not like that would not only kill he would be responsible for someone's death, but also he would have put that person's death on his friend.
Yeah.
Whatever, Sirius.
It's not a good joke.
So then we also see after the events that Harry has already seen, the memory of James torturing Snape when they're about 5th years.
Yep.
And Snape and Lily have managed to keep their friendship alive.
Yeah.
For another 5 years, even being in separate houses, even as Snape gets more and more involved in the dark arts.
Yes.
And then when she comes to his defense after James has been tormenting him, he's very humiliated and very angry, and he calls her a mudblood. And
that was it for her.
She's like, all right, well, I guess we're fucking done here. Like,
he's like, well, that's not you. And she's like, but you call everyone else in my birth status that. Why should I be any different?
And she's
I don't know why you hang out with some of the people you hang out with. They're vile people.
She's like, I've, made excuses because we've been friends for a long time, and I can't do it anymore, and I won't do it anymore. And she ends the friendship.
Yeah.
And then we see
Snape going to Dumbledore.
Well, we see Snape goes to Voldemort and gives him the information.
Yeah.
And says...
about the prophecy.
And this explains to us something after all this time, why Snape was willing to let Lily Potter live. Why he tried to get her to stand aside instead of just killing her right off.
Why Voldemort was going to let Lily Potter live.
He was going to let her live because Snape
says, if I told you, will you let Lily Potter go?
Yeah. Snape had this grand idea.
He's like, just kill James and Harry, and then she'll be free to be with me.
Yeah, he had this grand idea that she could be with him if she survived it. But she, of course, did not step out of the way.
No, because what kind of mother would... what kind of decent mother would not put her child's life above her own?
So, because he underestimated Lily's devotion to her child, because Snape did.
Lily's capacity for love.
That's actually what causes the whole thing to happen in the first place. That's what actually causes Voldemort to be destroyed. So, Snape goes to Dumbledore and says, I want to atone for this.
Yeah.
I need to make right.
Snape was also the one that begged Dumbledore to put the Potter family under his protection.
Yeah, he says, this is what I've done. Please protect them. And Dumbledore says, I'll protect them if you work for me now.
Yeah.
You're a double agent now. He agrees to it. Unfortunately, the protection doesn't work. They die anyway. And
James and Lily put their faith in the wrong person.
And Dumbledore says... the only way you can honor Lily's memory at this point is to
by protect her son.
And so then there's some more memories throughout the years of Harry at Hogwarts of Snape doing his best to protect Harry behind the scenes.
Yeah. And Snape is like, no one can ever know.
No one needs to ever know that I've protected Harry. And at one point, he and Dumbledore get into a huge fight because Dumbledore reveals to Snape
that Harry is a Horcrux.
Harry is the final Horcrux. And in order for Voldemort to be destroyed...
Voldemort has to kill Harry himself.
And so Snape is angry. He's like, you asked me to protect this child. And this entire time...
Just also, he could die at the right moment. And Dumbledore's
You've
like,
just
don't
been-
tell me you suddenly started caring for him.
And Snape says, I don't care for him, but I loved his mother.
Yeah.
And this is where that big... The big quote that everyone loved so much for some time was, he casts his Patronus,
And
which
it's
is
a doe, which was Lily's Patronus.
And it goes around the room, and he turns and looks at Dumbledore, and Dumbledore says, after all this time, and Snape says, always. Which has become something of a... They say it's a romantic quote. I don't find it romantic.
I almost titled this episode Always, and then realized that was kind of problematic. So I think I changed it to what James tells Harry in the Forbidden Forest until the very end.
Yeah. So yeah, Snape is an incredibly convoluted character. There's a lot there, and like...
Snape did good things, but the reason why he
For a
did
bad
good
reason.
things are not good reasons.
Yeah.
But again, this is back to the theme of the world is not made up of good people and Death Eaters.
I mean, between Snape and Dumbledore in that conversation, who would you say is the good person? The person who's protesting the use of a child as a weapon in a war, or the person who's been raising that child like a lamb for the slaughter, right?
Yeah,
like in that conversation, Snape sure seems like the good guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's much more complicated than that. I don't think Snape is a good person. I think he's a shitty individual, but he did help to save the world from Voldemort in the end.
But the reason he did that selfless thing was for purely selfish reasons.
Yeah. So it's very complicated. And
it is. Snape is not a good character, and he's not a bad character.
He's a good character. He's an excellent character.
He's an excellent character,
He's not
but
a good
in
person.
terms of morality, he is not a good character or a bad character.
No.
He is human.
He's a mess. So
This whole wizarding world is a mess.
We've been given this massive revelation about...
And now Harry realizes, I'm a Horcrux. Voldemort has to kill me. I need to march to my death. He's 17 years old.
Oh, wait, before we do that, let's back up. Okay. Because obviously the Doe Patronus shows us that Snape is the one who led Harry
to the Sword of God or Gryffindor.
He is the one who gave Bellatrix Lestrange a forgery.
Yes.
Because he knew Harry would need the sword
to destroy
Horcruxes. He's the one who led Harry to it. And also, he is the one who... he killed Dumbledore. The reason he killed Dumbledore...
was because Dumbledore asked him to.
Dumbledore was already dying.
Yeah,
because of how he had handled Marvolo Gaunt's ring.
Which had the Resurrection Stone in it.
Yes,
Dumbledore still cannot get over his fascination with the Deathly Hallows.
Well, it's not the fascination with... I don't think it's that. I think the idea that he might be able to bring Ariana back...
Yeah.
Was too much of a temptation for him.
Because the only person we know of who at one point had all three of the Deathly Hallows was Voldemort. He had James's invisibility cloak at one point.
Voldemort did?
Or was Dumbledore. My mistake.
Sorry. Yeah. He had the invisibility cloak, he had the ring.
James's invisibility cloak, he had the Resurrection Stone, and he had the Elder Wand. He had all three Hallows.
Yes. Not at the same time, though.
No, not at the same time.
But yeah, so...
but he was also the one that distributed
So whenever he destroyed Marvolo Gaunt's ring...
the curse that was on it went into his hand, and Snape helped him keep it to his hand.
He could have destroyed it without killing himself, but he tried to use the Resurrection Stone first.
Yes.
He was so tempted by the thought of being able to bring his sister back to make up for that huge mistake that he made as a 17-year-old.
Yes.
This going back to these mistakes that we make as children. I mean, Snape ruined his friendship with this girl at 15 over a stupid mistake. Dumbledore killed his sister at 17 over...
Well, we don't know if he did, but he feels like he did.
Responsible for it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whose spell it was. It's Dumbledore's fault because he didn't see Grindelwald for what he really was.
Exactly.
So yeah, he was so desperate to use the Resurrection Stone that it basically cost him his life.
Yes.
He knew he was going to die slowly, and he told Snape, I would rather die quickly. And besides, we all know that Draco Malfoy
is trying to kill me.
And if he doesn't succeed, Voldemort is going to kill him. So what you can do...
And he's like, and you can't put that on that boy.
So what you can do, you can save Draco Malfoy from either his own death or from losing his humanity by committing murder.
Yes.
And you can save me from a long, drawn-out death by killing me. Like, you're killing multiple birds with one stone here, because you're saving me from suffering, and you're saving Draco from his own whatever could happen to him, whether he kills me or doesn't. So Snape agrees to that. So that is why Snape killed Dumbledore, which I honestly was pretty impressed with that particular.
Yes.
Because
Snape clearly doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But when the moment comes, he does it.
And that was whenever you read book 6 and you see Snape kill Dumbledore, you're like, Snape's bad.
Yeah.
And
now you go back and you're like, ah, shit.
So,
So we finally know everything.
Know everything.
Finally!
We finally know everything. And Harry...
7 years worth of crap. We finally know everything.
Harry's very calm about this whole thing.
He is.
He's
because Harry knew he was going to have to die.
Yeah, Harry is...
But it's very strange.
He's braver than any 17-year-old I've ever known.
It's very strange knowing that you're going to have to die and knowing that time has come. And he knows that time has come. So he decides to put on the invisibility cloak.
He goes to Neville first. And he tells Neville.
He sees Ron and Hermione and Ginny, and he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want to have that painful goodbye for them.
Well, and he doesn't want them to try and talk him out of it either.
Yeah, because he's like, I'll cave.
So he goes to Neville. He says,
but he
the
sees
snake
Neville,
has to be killed. You have to kill the snake.
He's like, Ron and Hermione know the snake has to die. I'm telling you because previously 3 people knew, and now 3 people will know. And so he gets to the edge of the forest. And he
pulls the snitch out of his pocket.
Which says, I open at the close.
And he has been trying to open it for so long. Yes. Hermione told him snitches have flesh memory. This is the first snitch you ever caught in a Quidditch game. It was
in your mouth.
Yeah, and that's when he realizes at that moment the reason it hasn't opened for his hand is because he caught it in his mouth. So he puts it to his lips and it opens. And inside...
he puts it to his lips and says, I'm about to die. And it opens.
And inside is the resurrection stone.
Yes. And he uses it. And this is a very difficult scene to read, and it's even harder to talk about. Because we have been so emotionally enwrapped in all of these characters for so long that, and we grew up with them, and to finally see them again. We see Remus, Sirius, James, and Lily come to say goodbye to Harry.
They're basically various shades, of themselves, like ghosts. And they come and they walk with him.
He doesn't want to die alone.
He's scared. He's a kid.
Yeah.
And he says, will you stay with me?
And James replies, until the very end.
And so they go with him to meet Voldemort in the woods. And Voldemort...
Even though he can't see them, he knows they're there. Voldemort told him, he's like, I'm certain the boy would come. Because Voldemort is like, yeah, no, he'll come, and then I'll kill him, and then we'll take over Hogwarts, and it'll be fine.
So Harry shows up.
Harry is the symbol of the rebellion.
So Harry shows up, and Voldemort kind of mocks him a little bit. And it's awful because Hagrid is there. They've got Hagrid captive.
Yeah, and Hagrid is like, no, Harry, no, don't do this. Because Hagrid loves him.
And so Voldemort uses the killing curse on Harry. And Harry dies.
Yeah. Because Harry's even like, I'm not even going to lift a finger to defend me, which, takes a lot of, Voldemort is, it takes a lot out of, it takes all the fun out of it for Voldemort. Because Harry's not scared. He doesn't run. He doesn't try to defend himself. He's like, this is what you want. This is what you get.
And so Voldemort kills him. And Harry wakes up in...
a very bright place.
It looks like King's Cross Station.
Yeah, to him. But cleaner.
And
White.
Dumbledore is there.
Along with this thing that is mewling somewhere. And Harry is like, I'm going to get away from
nasty
this thing.
Baby monster that's sitting underneath one of the benches. And Dumbledore explains that whenever he originally tried to kill Harry, it rebounded and a fragment of his soul latched onto Harry, the only living thing in the house.
Which was Harry.
And made him a Horcrux that Voldemort didn't know about. It was an unintended Horcrux. And the fragment was destroyed.
The curse rebounded because of Lily's love for Harry.
And so the fragment, this time when Voldemort cast a killing curse on Harry,
was destroyed.
The fragment was destroyed. So Harry now has the choice that he can either return to life or he can go on to the afterlife.
Yeah. Well, it's not said explicitly like that. But since it's King's Cross Station, Dumbledore says, I think if you wanted to board a train, it would take you where you needed to go. But you can also go back. And Harry's like, well, the fight's not done.
And Dumbledore also kind of talks a little bit about Ariana.
Yeah.
And his estrangement from his brother.
Yeah.
And the regrets that he has.
He does.
He also tells Harry how proud of him he is and how brave he has been. And
Dumbledore says a lot, he's like, I wish I could have been better to you.
Yeah. And
this is also another really good quote. Of course this is all happening in your head, Harry. But who's to say that that's not real?
But why on earth should that mean that it isn't real?
Yeah.
And so Harry wakes up on the ground in the Forbidden Forest.
But he doesn't move.
He does not move. He is laying on the ground and Voldemort asks
if he's dead. And
Narcissa
Malfoy.
Well, Black Malfoy.
Yeah.
Me Malfoy. To check if he is alive. And she comes down and she can see that he is alive.
And she asks him, is Draco alive? And Harry says yes.
And she just wants to go back to the castle. She just wants to get
wants
back
her
to her son. So she says he's dead.
Yeah.
And
Narcissa Malfoy fucking lies to the Dark Lord to his face.
Because she wants it. Well, it's another one of those
a mother's love.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Molly Weasley yet.
No, we haven't.
Has that happened yet?
No, that has not happened yet.
So, but yeah, like no.
But Molly Weasley has forbidden Ginny from fighting because she's like, you are my only daughter. This is dangerous. You are underage.
We see several different mother figures in here, and we'll talk about that when we get to the end here. But let's wrap up what's happened here. So, Voldemort forces Hagrid to carry Harry's lifeless body back to the school to display it and offer them to surrender. To
break their spirit.
So he says, you can surrender to me, and we can be done here. And Neville's like, or fucking not.
Or fucking not. Look, I've got the sword of Godric Gryffindor out of the goddamn hat.
He has the sorting hat, and he reaches into it and pulls out the sword of Gryffindor and decapitates Nagini. And that is the final Horcrux.
That's the final Horcrux besides Voldemort himself.
Which is really quite beautiful that that the other person who could have been the chosen one
is the one who
destroys the final Horcrux. And it's interesting to see who takes out Horcruxes throughout the years. The first Horcrux was taken out by
Harry.
Ginny. Well, Harry. Yeah, Harry. But like Ginny Weasley is the only reason he was able to have access to that Horcrux.
Yes.
And so he was helped to destroy that first Horcrux by her. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the ring, which was destroyed by Dumbledore. And we've got the locket, which was destroyed by Ron. We've got the cup, which was destroyed by Hermione. The diadem was destroyed by Crabbe. And then
Harry was destroyed by Voldemort.
And the final one was destroyed by Neville. So it's just really cool how that works. And
so in the end, Harry only destroyed one Horcrux.
So Harry fucking rolls out under his invisibility cloak, and that's when all the chaos.
He's like, "Bitch, I'm alive." You thought?
Well, he disappears first because this is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Because like Hagrid has laid him down, and he pulls on his invisibility cloak, and then everybody's like,
"Where's the body?
Where'd the body go?" And Harry pops up, and he's like, "It's me, motherfuckers! I'm alive!" And Voldemort's like, "Oh, wig, okay."
Harry has a little flair for the drama that he gets from his father.
So, then there's a massive final breakout of battling. And
this is when Molly fucking Weasley, Bellatrix Lestrange goes after Ginny Weasley.
She does. She tries to kill Ginny Weasley, and Molly Weasley intervenes.
Not my daughter, you bitch.
And kills Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yes.
It's very good.
It is. It's very good.
And
that's the tea, my friends.
Harry reveals himself to Voldemort and very calmly explains to Voldemort.
He's like, have you noticed how none of your curses are hitting anybody here?
He goes, here's the thing. Let me explain a little wand lore to you.
Yes.
So the Elder Wand belonged to Dumbledore, yeah? And you thought it wouldn't work for you because Snape killed Dumbledore. And you're right, Snape did kill Dumbledore, but Snape was never the Elder Master's wand. You see, Draco Malfoy
Was the
disarmed,
one who disarmed
Dumbledore
that
before
night.
Snape killed him. And then Draco Malfoy was later disarmed
By me.
by me. So, do you want to fucking go? Do you
Yeah.
want to fucking see if the Elder Wand will work for you?
And he's like, before you make your decision, try for some remorse.
Mm-hmm.
Try feeling bad for what you have done.
But Voldemort is not interested.
Well, it's Voldemort, the greatest dark wizard of the age. The only way to come back from all those Horcruxes is to feel remorse for what you've done. Harry tries to save him.
yeah.
After all these years and everything he's done. He's like, I'm giving you a choice. Try or don't. And if you don't, that's going to be the end of it.
And Voldemort fires a killing curse at him.
Harry fires Expelliarmus.
And the the wands flies out of Voldemort's hand, and Harry catches it, and Voldemort's own killing curse
Rebounds on him.
rebounds on him and kills
Yet
him.
again. And there is a body. This is something that I did not like about the movie.
Oh no, it was
is
bad.
that-
I don't know what that was.
Is that Voldemort has a dead body on the ground, which is important for the closure of the wizarding world. If there is no body left, nobody is going to believe that Voldemort is dead.
Yeah.
But Voldemort is dead, and then Harry is like, it's silent, and then suddenly Ron and Hermione are on him, and then Ginny, and then the Weasleys, and then everybody.
Mm-hmm. So Harry uses the Elder Wand one time
Once.
to repair his Phoenix Feather Wand.
Yes, which is also not in the movie, but very important.
And I think in the movie he just breaks the Elder Wand and like throws
Yeah,
it.
throws it off the cliff.
But he returns it to
in the
Dumbledore's
book-
tomb.
In the book, Harry goes up to the headmaster's office because Luna has helped abscond him away for some peace and quiet, so he can kind of deal with what has happened. And he uses the Elder Wand to repair his wand, the Phoenix Feather Wand.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to put the Elder Wand in Dumbledore's grave. And he's like, if I die a natural death, the Elder Wand will no longer have a true master.
And
I'm
it won't
gonna
have
keep-
any power anymore.
I'm going to keep the invisibility cloak. And I dropped the resurrection stone in the forest. It's lost.
So it's gone now.
So Harry had all three of the Deathly
Harry is
Hallows.
the only true master of the Deathly Hallows.
And he is the only one who willingly gave them all up.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we have
The epilogue.
the epilogue, which has been proven to be problematic for many millennial readers.
The thing about the epilogue is, like, I don't think it's necessary. Like, it's not even necessarily that it's bad. It's just, like, I would have been perfectly content with the book ending there.
Yeah.
The Wizarding World's at peace.
Harry Potter has become an Auror.
Which
He would have been the world's best defense against the dark arts teacher.
I mean, are you really going to tell me this kid with PTSD becomes a fucking cop?
I don't know.
He would have
Well,
been...
look at Dean Winchester.
Yeah, and he's not exactly the model of healthy behavior, is he?
No. But neither is Harry.
But Harry has the opportunity. That's the thing. Harry's got, these years. This is some years after.
Yeah, but he's always wanted to be an Auror.
So
That was stated in book 5.
So Harry's an Auror, as is Ron.
Ron.
Hermione is
well
on her way to becoming the Minister for Magic.
Yes.
She's working within the
She
ministry.
has,
and
according to Pottermore, she has jailed Umbridge for her numerous crimes against Muggleborns.
mm-hmm. And she works within the ministry and well on her way to becoming the Minister for Magic.
Yes.
Which she does later
She does, yes.
in The Cursed Child.
We're not going to talk about the Cursed Child.
There's a couple good moments in there.
We're not talking about the Cursed Child.
Harry and Ginny are
It is
married.
not canon.
Harry and Ginny are married. They have several children.
They have 3 children.
Ron and Hermione are married. They have some children.
They have 2 children.
Hugo and Rose
Yes.
are Ron and Hermione's children.
And Harry has James, Sirius, and James, Sirius, Lily Luna, and
Albus Severus.
I really think you should have stuck with naming a child after Hagrid, but whatever.
Yeah, he says he was named Albus Severus after the 2 bravest men he ever knew. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Snape was a child abuser and a bully. And Dumbledore was almost part of a fucking genocidal wizard cult.
Yeah.
And fucking manipulated you to your own death. Like, neither of them.
Name a kid after Hagrid is
your
what we're
child's
saying.
name should have been Rubius Remus. Is what that child's name should have been.
Well, it is stated in Pottermore that Harry saved Remus's name for Teddy to use when he got older. Which Teddy is now snogging Victoria, who is Bill and Fleur's kid.
And Draco Malfoy is also there.
With Scorpius.
He is, against all odds, found a little bit of happiness for himself.
Yes.
He is married to a woman who we never met before now. She's not a Hogwarts student, I believe. She's from elsewhere. And they have a child named Scorpius together. And he and Harry have a truce, I guess.
Truce is a way to put it.
They have an understanding.
But basically, the epilogue is them happy with their children putting them on the Hogwarts Express.
To go to school. And it says at the end that Harry's scar had not bothered him in 20 years.
Yes.
And that all was well. And that's
the end of
that's it.
Harry Potter.
That's it. I mean, the thing is...
I mean, we do get the Cursed Child and we do get Fantastic Beasts and stuff, but
this is the end of this story.
Yeah, I mean, this was Harry Potter. There would not be Fantastic Beasts without Harry Potter. There would not be the Cursed Child without Harry Potter. There would not be a lot of things without Harry Potter.
Harry Potter was an absolute cultural phenomenon in a way that we really have not seen in
our
lifetime.
I don't think we're ever going to see anything like it again.
You know, like, I mean, I compare it to things like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, it was just such an absolute, it's a cultural touchstone. Like,
yeah, and
even people who have not read it know what Hogwarts house they are.
Yeah.
You know? It's a cultural touchstone, and like I have a lot to say about JK Rowling as a person, her politics, and some of the choices she made within her book that I do not feel like were radical enough as compared to, say, K.A. Applegate in the Animorph series, which I've talked to you about before.
Yes, you have.
J.K. Rowling
or Susan Collins.
Yeah, or Susan Collins. J.K. Rowling,
of course,
deals with a little bit of a colonial-centric, white-centric, Anglo-centric writing of things, and could stand to do better. But also, the Harry Potter books were written starting in the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s.
And I mean, go back and watch a fucking episode of Friends and see how many homophobic jokes there are in that shit. There's not any homophobic.
There aren't any people of color on Friends.
There's I definitely think it could stand to have been better, but
there's also
that does not diminish the significance that what it is has been.
Popular headcanon popular art that Harry is of Indian descent and Hermione's black.
Yeah, and I'm very on board with that. And Hermione was
on board with that.
Hermione was actually cast. A black actress was cast to play Hermione in The Cursed Child on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the coolest things about Harry Potter is seeing what people have chosen to do with it now.
Yeah.
People besides JK Rowling, what we've chosen to do with it.
There are a lot of themes that are very consistent throughout the entire series that we can finally talk about. Mm-hmm. Like, one being there is this theme of love all over the books. Mm-hmm. Love is the thing that will save us. Love is the strongest force in the universe. Love is stronger than any magic.
Yeah.
We get that with Lily's self-sacrificing. And then there's the idea of a mother's love, which JK has 3 daughters of her own. Yeah,
she actually was a single mother whenever she was writing the first book.
Living off food stamps.
And so you see a lot of different moms in the series. You see, obviously, Lily Potter is like at the heart of this, but you also see Petunia Dursley and how she's protective of her son, and maybe not the healthiest of ways, but then you see Molly Weasley and you see Narcissa Malfoy.
Kinds of mothers. There's so many different kinds of women in this book as well. There is the idea of obsessive love, like the Bellatrix Voldemort situation.
Or Snape and Lily,
the obsessive kind of love. And then there's selfless love, which is, Harry for everybody else, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's like the really kind of like the traditional idea of the motherly love, which is encapsulated by Molly Weasley. Mm-hmm. There's
love between friends,
like the love between and siblings, like Harry and Hermione or Fred and George. There's a lot of there's a lot of relationships and a lot of love throughout all of these books.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the big thing with the antagonist being somebody who is capable of any form of love whatsoever.
Yeah, but Voldemort is incapable of love, which makes it so hard for him to understand the way other people choose to act and behave because of their feelings for each other.
And so there is the idea of love. There is the idea of death, especially with the Deathly Hallows. Now that we've gotten into the Hallows, we can get a little bit more specific. And the theory that Dumbledore is death. Because Dumbledore is the one that had all 3 Deathly Hallows and distributed them appropriately. Because he gave the cloak to Harry. He also had the Resurrection Stone. And he had the Elder Wand.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the 3 brothers. The one who died for power, Voldemort. The one who died for love, Snape. And the one who greeted death as an old friend, Harry.
Yeah, the parallels there are pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I do like the Deathly Hallows. It does feel, I sometimes feel like a little tacked on because we don't really see, I mean, the invisibility cloak is definitely around from the beginning.
Yeah, it's definitely around from the
beginning. But we don't see any indication of the Deathly Hallows as a thing that even exists until the 7th book, which is kind of makes it feel a little abrupt.
Yeah. But we do see the idea of Horcruxes, of cheating death. There's always this idea of death and cheating death. And the Hallows are just another way to quote-unquote cheat death.
Yeah, I go back over and over again to the fact that, like, Harry unknowingly destroyed the first Horcrux as a 12-year-old. And I remember him bringing the journal to Dumbledore, and Dumbledore realizing the significance of it and what it meant. Like, she had it planned out that early on.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty impressive, whatever else I have to say about her.
And, like, even with Sorcerer's Stone, she set up the antagonist's motivation. She used a whole
his immortality.
Book, to set up his motivation, which was immortality. Which Voldemort was 71 when he died. Dumbledore was 150. So, Horcruxes do not guarantee anything.
Yep.
So we have that idea of love. We have that idea of death. And especially in Deathly Hallows, we have the idea of resurrection. We have the Resurrection Stone, which brings back people from the dead. We have Harry coming back from the dead to protect people from Hogwarts. It's very much it's very much a very Christian allegory.
Yeah,
in
very
these books,
Protestant.
even though these books are constantly banned for teaching witchcraft. Yeah, so a lot of and then we have also the idea of duality throughout all the books. We've got Voldemort being the opposite side to Dumbledore. We've got Harry being the opposite side to Draco. There's, a lot of duality, but we also get into the idea of some of the little bit less philosophical ideas that we can talk about are like the living in the corrupt police state of the Ministry of Magic. Because again, with these books, they've done studies where it's like people who are fans of the Harry Potter novels are less likely to support any kind of torture. They're less likely to support the death penalty, and they're less likely to trust the media or the government.
Yeah, which is that's part of the reason I think it's ironic that Harry became an Auror, because it's like that's part of that government organization, that organized body, like. And I think Harry Potter definitely instilled in me as a child a certain anti-establishment sentiment.
Yes. It was there before. Knowing you.
Well.
It was there before, but it also, it's something we need to, it also taught us to, distrust the media because they're getting pressure from the government, which is something we are seeing now. There are certain news outlets that are getting pressure from their upper-ups about what they can and cannot say. Especially, we're also seeing that too with the NBA right now, because they're trying to break into a new market that has very strict, I would say, very strict limitations on what can and cannot be said about their current government in the market they're trying to break into at the moment. There was a whole South Park episode about it. But we've also got, like, even with, like, making lists of quote-unquote undesirables.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping people away from their families in different sections. Separating people who we think are lesser than us. This is something we are seeing happening in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're having to say, like, there's some news media outlets that are taking it one way, and there are other news media outlets taking it the other way, which just tells you, if you're going to get your news, get different sources.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to say something different. And then we have the government that is just trying to... we don't realize that sometimes the government is not necessarily people who mean to... They're not necessarily people who are trying to do the best for everybody, which is what they're supposed to be. They're people who are just trying to stay in power.
Correct.
And so that's something that we also need to take into consideration when we're watching the news all day. I mean, we're recording this mid-December of 2019, so we are in the midst of impeachment inquiries at the moment.
Yeah.
So we're keeping a close eye on that.
And next year's an election year.
And so we're growing up. We grew up with these books. These books taught us that, these are very adult ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
And no matter what JK has done about political-wise, she has kind of prepared us a little bit for that.
Yeah, I think that the Harry Potter books are definitely like some of the most influential on my own childhood. And again, a big part of that is because of the release pattern of them. They were released as
the age Harry was.
Yeah, I mean, when I read the last book, I was 17 years old. I was getting ready to go to college, and I had no idea what I was going to do with my life.
The unknown is terrifying.
And so it was... the ability to relate to that character was so visceral, and the massive like cult following around it, going to midnight parties, and wearing costumes and like doing trivia. It's just like, I don't think probably that there will be another cultural touchstone like this in my experience in my lifetime.
I don't think there will be.
But I do, whatever else I have to say about canon that has come post novels, these books mean a huge amount to me, and it was very fun to reread them this year.
These books
and
mean
revisit them as an adult
a lot. Like, it says something when, like, I have my original copies from when they originally came out, and when I found out I was pregnant, I asked my mom for them because I wanted to read them to my children. So these books mean the world to me. They're, darkness can be defeated.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, there are so many characters who die over the course of this series, especially in this book.
But you keep fighting.
But in the end, they did win. And like, they were able to overcome the darkness. And it was through like working together and asking each other for help when they needed it.
Yeah, it was through love and through friendship that they were able to defeat something that everybody thought was undefeatable.
And that's the kind of positive fucking shit I need in my life, frankly.
Yeah, we all need that in our lives. Even with them facing the corrupt government and adults who don't know what they're doing and being manipulated, they were able to still come out on top and still be good people at the end of it. So you're going to face... This book series is all about, like, facing the challenges in your life and still managing to be a good person.
Yep.
Through it all.
How many bottles would you give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows?
Deathly Hallows is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Deathly Hallows is one of my favorites. Probably 4.5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, about 4.5. It's right up there for me. My very favorite is Prisoner of Azkaban, but this one is right up there. It's really good. And this one is the one I've read the least.
Yeah.
Because I always reread the entire series up to that point
I.
before the next one. So it was really fun to revisit today.
It was always like, it had been a couple of years since I had done a reread of Harry Potter, and I'm very glad we did.
I'm very glad we did. It was a ton of fun.
I didn't realize how much I missed them.
Yeah. It was a ton of fun. I'm glad we did it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes,
it's been
we hope you enjoyed it too.
It's been a half-year-long ordeal. So hopefully you weren't sick and tired of us. in the new year, you'll be seeing some new stuff from us, including some new books, some new
babies,
and potentially some other new material on the channel, depending on how our the beginning of our year goes. Between working the holidays and between Liz's pregnancy. We'll keep you updated on that. You can always check our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter for more information.
Yes.
And litliteraturepodcast.com will always have the newest info on what's going on with us.
Yeah, and just tweet at us. Let us know what Harry Potter meant to you guys growing up.
Tell us about your favorite Harry Potter experiences or favorite Harry Potter related memories. And again, we do have a Patreon. Liz is having babies in just a couple of weeks. I'm getting married in just a couple of months. So we can need all the help we can get.
Oh God, when this premieres, I'll be 4 weeks away.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, this was a big undertaking for this particular series.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did not, don't worry. We will be going back to some more regularly scheduled programming.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. For more information, visit us at litliteraturepodcast.com or check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. And remember, too much work and no vacation deserves at least a small libation. Cheers!